When I was 16, I started college, and I concurrently started a different school to get my cosmetology license to be a beautician. And at the same time, I was also competing in ballroom dancing. So at that particular time in my life, it was the first time I had to really get good at setting goals, having to-do lists, like things that I hadn't really done before then. And then when I got out of college and I went to law school, the game changed once again. The time commitment, the amount of work that had to be accomplished every single day while concurrently having a full-time music career, still putting out records, it was a very unforgiving schedule, which meant you had to be very, very careful with your time. And so this was really when the game changed for me, and the techniques, some of which I'm going to discuss today in this video. So what I want to kind of go over is even from the time of law school to where I am today, with a full-time law firm that I run, the music career, my record label in between. It's a lot, but it's all manageable. And it's because of the different techniques that I'm going to discuss in this video. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about setting and accomplishing goals. Hi guys, I'm Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and author of How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent musician. I'm going to break this discussion into 3 relevant categories of how I've stayed organized, my methods to madness, starting with calendaring. So when it comes to my calendaring system, back in the day, I had a physical calendar. It was kind of a double of the calendar, note-keeping, to-do lists, all of it was actually physical. And when I started law school, that was when I migrated. Everything became electronic. And so today I use Google Calendar, obviously use whatever app that you feel the most comfortable with, but with the calendaring system that I keep, it's not just my calendar. I actually have separate calendars for different things that pertain to my day-to-day. So one might be for my law firm. For my law firm, I have different activities, appointments, court hearings, client conferences, and everything will be put into this relevant calendar so that if I need to do a quick overview of everything that's happening, I can kind of mute all the different calendars and I just look at the law firm calendar. I also have a separate calendar just for Miss Krystle, and so this is going to be anything to do with recording or videos, releases, anything whatsoever. And then the list goes on. I have different things on top of that. I have my record label, and then there will be personal items. And so each of these things are put on separate calendars, but they're joined. So I have the ability to see everything at once or mute certain calendars, and so I can just see certain tasks all at once. Now, in addition to that, the second most critical thing for my calendaring system techniques is color coding. Because I have everything kind of mushed together in one giant, combined calendar, I can see everything, but I can quickly interpret what everything means. And so, for example, Miss Krystle is always in red. And so I know if it's something to do with music, I can quickly interpret the music-related items for the day. If it's my law firm, I put the law firm activities in green. And then, for example, the record label is in orange, and so on and so forth. And so these are color coding systems that I've trained myself on, and so it really helps me in one quick view to see what's going on for a particular day or a particular week, and I understand kind of where I need to be and what's going on. Now, another kind of pro tip would be for you and your team. And so this might be a particular calendar that you've set up that you need your team to be able to have access to and to see without seeing everything else that you got going on. And so this gives me the ability to add relevant items, let's say as weekly reminders for certain team members or as kind of glorified to-do items. And so all the team sees the same calendar all at once, and then we can all make adjustments from there. Another pro tip is with the calendaring that I keep, I really utilize not just the reminders, right? So you can set reminders to just, kind of ding you if you have a call coming up, and so you get that 10-minute warning. But I use the notes section in any of my events very, very much, every single time. And so what I mean by that is if I have a call with a particular collaborator, or let's say it's a client, and there's something that I need to remind myself of, I don't remember everything. I don't have a great memory in general. If it's not written down, I tend to forget. And so what I've found is that with the notes, I can input relevant notes at the time I'm entering it onto the calendar, and then I don't forget. all of a sudden, when a week comes or it's a month later, whenever it is, and you're looking at that particular event on the calendar, now you have all your relevant notes to refresh your memory. And usually for me, I get that reminder 5-10 minutes before the call. I don't have time to really go searching through emails and that kind of thing. So having it right there is a lifesaver. So that's category number 1. Moving on to category number 2, we're going to talk about lists. Starting with daily lists. Write this out every single day as soon as you get up. You're having your morning coffee or whatever your routine is. I don't care if you have an app that you like to use. Type it on your phone. For me, I like having a physical piece of paper. I like writing it out. It's just something that gives me a little bit of intrinsic satisfaction by the end of the day because I can go through that piece of paper, check everything off, I can recycle it. And so it's kind of this temporary exchange that happens, and it's just something that helps me. Do whatever works for you though. And also, I would just say that having kind of that hyper-focused attention to that list throughout the day is going to be helpful. I don't know about you guys, but surprises, distractions come up all day long. There's some kind of catastrophe, there's some kind of problem that needs to be resolved that was unexpected. So when those distractions happen, you now have that list to just remind you throughout the day of kind of those goals that you set. So make sure you in fact are writing out your goals every day and that you have that to-do list somewhere handy, whether it's that piece of paper or it's on your phone. Moving on to weekly tasks. So same kind of thing. For me, my method is I really enjoy being able to have things written down because I, on average, will have kind of this, thick notepad and it goes with me everywhere. And so it has the daily to-do items, but it also contains kind of weekly goals. What is the focus of what I'm trying to do this week? Let's say with any of my personal projects, or kind of a global idea of what needs to be accomplished for my law firm, for my clients, and then also maybe just team items. And so something I need to make sure that I'm overseeing for my team is in fact happening. And if I don't have it written down, again, a million things are going on, I'm probably going to forget. So those weekly kind of overview lists are really helpful to keeping you on track because we're so focused, we're so in the moment with everything happening. And so that's where I find the weekly lists are so helpful. Now we can upgrade a little bit to the monthly lists. The same rules apply when it comes to your monthly and your annual lists. Now, when it comes to this, I'm very much electronic. For me to have this glorified list of like the monthly task or the annual task, it's too much. And I'm not really going to refer to it too often because it doesn't require my attention or time. And so for me, actually the monthly or the annual items will even go on my calendar. And so it might be, let's say, a reminder. You have your admin tasks at the end of the year that you have to do. You need to do payroll at the end of the month. Whatever it is that's more of something that you just need to remind yourself about. I find that having it on my actual calendar is the best for me. And sometimes there'll be just kind of like global goals that my team and I will set. And so it'll just be something that will go on a list or on a calendar somewhere, just as a reminder that at some point when I do circle back to it or I do have a little extra time, it's not something that's really pressing or needs attention now, but have it someplace because when that moment strikes and you finally have that hour that you just couldn't find any other time, you'll see that item and then you'll act on it and get a little further ahead if you, let's say didn't have that item on your list. And I mentioned it just a moment ago, but when it comes to items that I have for my team, I'm often writing out lists on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. There are certain things that the team's just in charge of taking care of, but nonetheless, there are times where I need to actually delegate what those items are because, the team's not going to know. It's something new that I want to try. It's some, person we want to reach out to. It's something that I have to actually put together. And so it goes, in addition to what I set for myself, I have to be reminded to now make these lists for the team. It's an extra step for sure, but it helps to keep everyone organized. So we touched on calendaring, techniques, color coding, all that fun. We also discussed lists, your to-do list from the weekly to the monthly to the daily. And now I want to talk about the actual goals that you set. First of all, you have to be mindful of your time. I kind of learned this over a handful of years where I was doing a lot of work that I would qualify as busy work. I was incredibly busy and, as far as how many emails I was sending out, how many people I was trying to get in touch with to, let's say, be a booking agent for me or maybe a manager that I wanted to work with. And so I would dedicate so much time to trying to reach out to these people. But the reason why I kind of consider it busy work is because it didn't really result in anything. And the reason was because I was kind of putting the cart before the horse. I wasn't really taking the time to build my own brand, my own social media to make me really someone in a brand that other companies, other people would want to work with. And I was just going straight to the source. I want you to work with me. Here's why. Of course, I thought my sales pitch was pretty good. I thought that I had something to offer, but that might not necessarily be the case of where you're at right now. And so when it goes back to being mindful of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, to be realistic and to focus on the things that you absolutely can control. You can control your social outreach. You can control your daily growth on social media, the kind of content that you make, the fact that you make content on a regular basis, whether you're getting into the studio. All of these things are going to come into how you are managing your time and maybe sitting and sending, emails for 4 hours every day to potential booking agents when your numbers aren't really good to justify a booking agent working with you might not be the best use of your time. So again, just be mindful of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Next, consistency. Consistency is absolutely king to you being able to accomplish your goals. It doesn't matter what your goal is. It might be something as far as you want to accomplish a certain, physical regimen, or you want to get in touch with a certain person, or have your EPK, your electronic press kit, ready by a certain date, or you're going to update your website. Whatever goal it is that you set, making sure that you actually do something. Take action. Don't just say, oh, I heard Krystle say you need to write down your list of what you need to do, and then that list just sits there. Write down your list and then do that item. It's all about actually following through. So back to the consistency, I just have found with myself and with my clients, my collaborators, anyone who's willing to, let's say, get into the studio, work on your craft, work on your voice, be consistent with your social media, it always is going to start ramping up for you. And it's going to allow you to create that momentum to just crush through whatever that goal was. But in the beginning, it's really, really difficult because it's kind of like we're just not, it doesn't feel good to do that whole self-starter thing. We might get motivated for a couple minutes, we'll write down our list, but then when that motivation kind of dissipates and now we're feeling tired or we're distracted or we'd rather watch a TV show, you need to kind of ignore all of that and just make sure that if you wrote it down, that's the point of the list. It's that discipline that you're going to follow through and you're going to accomplish each one of those tasks. And by having those daily tasks, accomplishing them every single day, that's what's going to ramp you up, and you will always, always get to your goals no matter what. And that's just what I have seen. So long as you don't give up, you stay consistent, and here's the last piece of it, your resiliency. So I talked about, there were times in my career where I would just sit at the kitchen, dining room table for hours and hours, just emailing so many people, putting in so much time and effort, sending what I thought was the absolute best EPK representation of myself. And it just didn't end up resulting in a very good outcome because I wasn't really thinking about things as far as the big picture. So that was very crushing to me. And there have been many times throughout my career that it's been very crushing to me because I was disappointed. Something didn't, happen the way that I wanted it to. And so because of that, the resiliency piece is what's going to encourage you and ensure that you get back up and that you go through your routine of having your to-do list, cracking down on every single item, being consistent, and just knowing that just because you've had one quote failure, which again, most of the time we all think that we failed at something and we don't even understand that we just didn't have full context. We don't know why we didn't get that call back. We don't know why someone decided they didn't want to work with us. And you just have no idea really what was going on. All you can control is your own perspective. All you can control is what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if you've kind of picked your path, you know what you love, you know what you're passionate about, then you need to just really shut out everything, including your own kind of negative voices saying that, why should I try this? What's the point of that? I'm not really seeing the results. You have to make sure that you have that consistency, that resiliency, and you have to be patient. Understand that in order for you to really accomplish everything that you need to, that patience piece is so critical. So guys, look, to kind of just wrap this up for you, we've talked about the literal systems of staying on track with your calendaring and your to-do items, but then, really those last three pieces that I mentioned, right? Your consistency, your resiliency, and your patience is what's going to really drive you towards the success and to be able to crush everything that you set yourself out to accomplish. You just will. And today's video was actually inspired by a chapter that I have in my book, How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. The chapter is all about setting and accomplishing goals. I discussed some of the things that I touched on in the video today, but obviously with the book, you have the opportunity to kind of deep dive more into my techniques and what I've just implemented over the years. So be sure to check that out. It's now on Amazon in 3 different platforms. I will read you my book via Audible, physical versions, of course, and Kindle. So with all this list setting stuff we're talking about, I'm gonna have you put on your list to come say hi to me on social media because we are building a community of musicians and artists, and I appreciate that you guys are checking out these videos and that you are learning. We are learning and growing together. The industry is changing so rapidly every single day, and it's been amazing to meet you guys. We release videos just like this once a week to help you guys with your music careers and getting you to the next level. We talk about everything from music marketing to copyrights and trademarks and everything in between. If you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to do so. Turn on those bell notifications so you get notified every time your new favorite redhead releases a video. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Miss Krystle. Bye.